Hey guys and ladies, how are you guys doing today? It is a football Sunday. Oh, I'm sorry. It's a non-football Sunday here. And I'm curious, what are you doing? What are your plans for a Sunday without football? Me, I do what I always do. And that is work. Because poor people, well, we ain't got no choice but to work. But I'm fortunate that I can do things that I love. And don't tell my cousin. This is the bar top for him. Solid mahogany. And we're spar urethane it so it'll be waterproof. And I've got 2 coats of urethane on here. The thing about spar urethane, it's an oil varnish, and it takes a while to dry. The first coat literally will take at least a day, and it'll be kind of tacky. The second coat doesn't take quite as long to dry because it doesn't penetrate. Don't ask me. It seems like the first coat would dry faster, but it doesn't. Third coat dries real quick, but what you want to do is you want to sand it in between the coats to take out any bubbles or imperfections, and then it'll make it more like glass. And so we use a wet paper. So what are you doing today as we get ready for the long off season here? I gotta tell you, and I started working on it this morning, but I want to get this coat of varnish on here and get some paint on the racks before I finish it. But I gotta tell you, I am really hopeful for our Dallas Cowboys for next season. And that's no joke. And the reason I am is because, first of all, you got to look back at all of the things that usually transpire in our division. The NFC East is literally unlike any division out there. Nobody repeats this division change, or hasn't at least for almost 20 years, since 2003, 2004 years. So Washington, sorry guys, chances are you won't be repeating as division champs. It's just the nature of the beast. And it's by design by the NFL. The NFL loves the fact that everybody has hope. Did you see the Cleveland Browns being the juggernaut that they were this year? No. Didn't you think the Kansas City was going to repeat this year? Did you think Tampa Bay would get Tom Brady, and Tom Brady was going to be able to go take them to the Super Bowl? No. But what makes the NFL so big is all these crazy scenarios. Now, the reason I have hope, and maybe it's not good to have hope because of who I'm relying on, which is Jerry Jones and the Cowboys front office. I look at a team like the Steelers, who lost Big Ben the year before and missed the playoffs. Just getting him back got them back into the playoffs. Just that one thing. And as much as you guys want to go ahead and tout and say Andy Dalton had a better record than Dak Prescott and think that Andy Dalton is a better quarterback, dude, get real. Let's get real here. You get Dak back, this team is better. But that's not the only thing, because we've been good for years, just not good enough. The one thing that I actually have to give credit to Jerry Jones and crew is drafting. The Cowboys have been really, really good at drafting and finding players. And that's no joke, seriously. The Dallas Cowboys this year, we have 4 picks in the top 106. Now, they haven't slotted yet all of the compensatory picks. But the way the compensatory picks work is you can get a maximum of 4 from the 3rd to the 7th round. With what we lost the year before as far as players and not replacing them, the Cowboys are in line for a 3rd, a 4th, a 5th, and a 6th. That's 10 picks. They're projecting, because of what's going on in gonna let that dry. Isn't that pretty? Ooh. Get another coat on here, and then what we'll do is we'll sand it down again, and then we'll actually go ahead and use some rotten stone, which is like super fine, and we're gonna buff this thing to like a glass finish. They're projecting that it's possible for the first time ever that 5 quarterbacks may go in the top 10. And I know what you're thinking, yeah, the Cowboys should be one of those. Well, I'm going to break it down later on exactly how it looks, because if you're one of those teams right now that are thinking about Russell Wilson or thinking about Deshaun Watson and stuff, there's only those 2 guys that could potentially be traded for. There's a lot more people that need one than just those 2. And you're looking at the draft. History tells us that of 5 quarterbacks that are drafted, maybe 2 might be competent NFL starters. Majority of them will be bust, and that's just the reality of it, but you got to play that game regardless. If the Cowboys do, in fact, get Dak Prescott signed, the Cowboys may be in a position to even increase those draft picks. And if the strength of the Dallas Cowboys is drafting players, and you have more picks this year, and we're talking about what I'm looking at and thinking is somebody like the Steelers or New Orleans may look and say, one of those quarterbacks is falling. We need to jump up there and get it. And they look to you and say, okay, we got a pick we'd like to trade. And the Cowboys trade back. And let's say they trade back to someplace like, say, 18 and pick up a 2nd round pick. Dudes, that's a game changer for the Dallas Cowboys. That is the opportunity to fill in those holes with guys that are inexpensive. And ultimately, you get a great draft class. Let's say we have a 1st, say 2 seconds, 2 thirds, a 4th, 2 fourths, 1 5th, 2 6, and a 7. Dude, Cowboys could be in great shape real fast. All right, gonna let the water dry on this, and then I'll varnish it. All right, it's dry. I'm gonna put me some varnish on this sucker, and look at how beautiful it gets. You know, people always say to me, man, you made some beautiful stuff. And what I tell them is The beauty was always there. I just helped bring it out to the surface. I love working with real wood. There's nothing like dealing with a real piece of wood. You know, most of the stuff you buy these days, it's particle board or it's with like a veneer on it. Sometimes it's like a plastic veneer or real paper veneer, almost like wallpaper. You know, you get a cabinet and it's all meant to be throwaway. Same thing with furniture. They don't build things to last anymore. And what I can tell you is, this isn't going to be perfect. I'm going to have, oh, you're my wife. That's beautiful. It's going to have minor imperfections because it's handmade. I'm not perfect when it comes to finishing, you know, and finishing is the thing I hate the most. But I tell you what, you can get this sucker wet. You can hit it with a sledgehammer. It's not going to go anywhere. And when I think that the dresser that I built for Michael 30 years ago, he's still actually using it. Actually makes me feel good. So when you build it right and build it to last, it will. And so here's the problem for the Cowboys, and here's the short-sightedness that people have with, you know, going with free agents, let's go get this guy, let's go get that guy. That's all short-term. The way you build a team for the long haul, I'm telling you, is by being good at the draft. Well, that chased my wife away. She's like, had to turn it to football, didn't you? Yeah, she's like, oh, I want that. Where can we put that? It's like, it's not ours. This is not ours. This is my job. It is making things for others. But you got to build things to last. And the thing is, when you make big trades, and I think about what everybody keeps talking about with Russell Wilson, he's a better quarterback. But you know what? He's got a lot more miles on him. How many more years do you think you'll get for him versus a younger player? And this is where, when you're short-sighted, trying to get that real quick satisfaction of saying, let's trade draft picks for a person that's already established, more times than not, the team that's on the receiving end of all those draft picks is the team that's in better shape. Whew. Can't wait to get this put in this house. It's been taking too long to get this thing done for him. And being a Washington fan, you know, he needs to drink. Build it for the long haul. I'm telling you. It's the only way you do it. All right, so in between time, got another coat on those. We'll get those racks together. Tomorrow we'll be giving another one of those racks away. So I appreciate all the support that you guys have been giving me. We're about halfway there to the big piece that I want to do. Although I have come up with some other ideas and things that I want to do. What I realize is this. If you want to do something, you can sit around and say, oh, I didn't have the opportunity, or wasn't given this, or wasn't given that. You know, here's the thing. I wasn't born with these skills. I started working in a workshop, or basically it was a chicken coop, where my dad had an old piece of equipment when I was probably about 10 years old. Covered with dust. Nobody used it. But I found a few pieces of wood. I just started cutting stuff. And to this day, some of the first projects I've made are still hanging in my mother's house. She still uses them. They weren't pretty, I look at it now and say, boy, that's a bad joint. I can't believe it's still together. But I learned. The great thing about what you guys have right now is what you're watching, and that's YouTube. You want to learn how to do something. There's videos on just better. Now, not all of them are credible. You know, when they tell you how you can have great Wi-Fi and everything else, you know, for it, and it's bullshit. It's clickbait. But you can learn how to do anything. And when it comes to woodworking, I took shop class in high school, my freshman year, sophomore year. But at that time, people who took shop class were taking shop class because they just didn't really want to be in school and they had to take a class. It wasn't really about trying to learn a trade. But everything pretty much that I do has been self-taught. Trial and error. Cutting, gluing, putting together didn't work, so let me try it another way. It's self-taught. The fact that I'm here on YouTube, and when I first started YouTube, they're like, dude, give it up, man. You're old, you're ugly, you can't even use a computer, and you stutter. But I've worked really, really hard at getting better at it. I don't stutter anymore. I don't. In fact, now, when I used to hate talking in public, hey, people are like, damn, could you just shut up? Can you let somebody else talk? My point here is if you work hard enough at something, you try and be the best at it that you can be, and you work in that goal every single day, you may not be the best. I guarantee you, you'll be really, really good. And you'll be a lot closer than if you sit around and said, I don't get given a chance. So work hard, because you'll be surprised at what you might be able to accomplish. This compared to the stuff I used to build in my mom's house when I was a kid, yeah. I'm Mark Holmes, and well, I'm going to go out and do some grocery shopping. That's right. I'll see you soon.